When we think about the future, there are few ideas as exciting, or as, well, misunderstood, as post-scarcity. Sci-fi paints these amazing pictures, right? You've got replicators making any food you want out of thin air, you've got infinite energy, but the reality? It's so much more complicated than that.
So, what does that actually mean, to live in a world without want? Getting there isn't just about inventing some magical new technology. Nope. It's more like this intricate dance between our resources, our own psychology, and, frankly, the tricky nature of human desire itself.
Yeah, that simple sci-fi dream of a perfect utopia kind of crashes head-on with a much messier reality. We imagine it's the end of all our problems, but what we'd probably find are brand new, even deeper challenges, ones that are rooted in our own minds and in the basic laws of the universe.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this, we're going to walk through a few key things. First, we're going to nail down what post-scarcity actually is. Then, we'll look at the very real physical limits to all this abundance before digging into the uniquely human side of the equation. And finally, we'll pull it all together and ask what our post-scarcity future might really be like.
So, first up, let's get on the same page. If we're going to talk about this, we need a solid, practical definition of post-scarcity.
And what's so fascinating here is that the real definition, it's all about psychology. See, post-scarcity isn't about having a literal infinite amount of everything. It's more of a state of mind, a society where the average person isn't constantly weighed down by significant anxiety about having their basic needs met. The goal here is security, not infinity.
And we have to be super clear on a few things. We say average person because, well, there will always be outliers. We say significant anxiety because getting rid of all worry is impossible. We're human. And this is a big one. This is not some creepy post-discontent world where everyone's happy because they're on happy pills or being fed propaganda. This has to be genuine.
So with that definition in mind, how do we build that foundation of abundance? A world of plenty sounds fantastic, but even if we had access to theoretically infinite resources, we would still slam into some really surprising physical limits.
Now, that might sound like a total paradox. I mean, how can something that's infinite be limited? But this right here is the central problem of turning all that theoretical abundance into something we can actually use.
So how is that possible? How on earth can infinity have a bottleneck? Well, it all boils down to the rate at which you can get to and use those resources.
Think about it like this. It's the faucet analogy. Imagine a single kitchen faucet hooked up to an infinite ocean of water. The supply is literally limitless, but the faucet itself can only pump out, say, 10 liters a minute. That flow rate is your bottleneck. The second that demand goes up to 11 liters a minute, boom, scarcity is back.
And this isn't just about faucets. It applies on a cosmic scale. Imagine you're building some colossal space station. The more stuff you pile together in one spot, the stronger its gravity gets. And eventually you hit a tipping point where adding just one more chunk of metal would cause the entire thing to collapse into a black hole. The very materials you're using create their own ultimate speed limit.
Okay, so even with endless stuff, there are hard physical limits. But honestly, the trickier problems are actually psychological. The moment we solve our basic material needs, new, way more abstract kinds of scarcity start popping up.
A really good way to picture this is with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You've probably seen that famous pyramid diagram, right? It maps out what motivates us. Once we get the bottom stuff covered, food, water, shelter, we immediately start craving things higher up the pyramid: safety, love, esteem, and purpose. And you can't exactly mass-produce those.
Take safety, for example. We could totally deploy tech that would drastically cut down on crime. But what's the trade-off? You risk creating a perfect surveillance state, a totalitarian nightmare where we've given up all our freedom just to feel secure. It's a really fine line to walk.
And what about love and belonging? Just consider this scenario for a second. Imagine a government agency using all its data to find you the perfect romantic partner. Even if it could work, it would feel so incredibly intrusive and just weird. Some problems can't be solved with a better algorithm.
Then you climb up to esteem. Tech could give us whatever we wanted in a virtual world. We could be kings, war heroes, geniuses, you name it. But what does that do to our sense of real, earned accomplishment? The danger is this profound disconnection from reality, where we get all this praise for things that never actually happened.
And this brings us to the very top of the pyramid, the ultimate challenge of a post-scarcity world, just finding a reason to get out of bed in the morning.
Self-actualization, it's all about reaching our fullest potential. But when survival is no longer a daily struggle, the question becomes, what do we even strive for? What gives our life meaning? That is the core existential question a truly advanced society would have to face.
Now, it's easy to be pessimistic about all this, but there's a much more hopeful way of looking at it. We can reject that old Malthusian way of thinking that says we're just doomed to fail. History shows again and again that humanity doesn't just hit a wall and give up. We see challenges, and we innovate our way right past them.
So what does this all mean for our future? The road ahead is definitely challenging, but it is also incredibly promising.
We could be on the very edge of a true golden age. This century alone could bring us abundant energy, seriously advanced AI, and maybe even life extension. The centuries after that, we could see humanity expanding across the solar system, building entire new worlds and space habitats. The future becomes this amazing story of finding new challenges, not just coasting because we solved the old ones.
And that's really the ultimate takeaway here. As we slowly eliminate all the material scarcities, the most valuable and the rarest resources left will be purpose and the challenges that give that purpose meaning. The goal isn't to get rid of struggle entirely, it's to get to a point where we can choose our struggles.
Which leaves all of us with one final, profound question to think about. In a future where our survival is basically guaranteed, where our basic needs are met without a thought, what will we, as a species, choose to live for?